Hi Hal. Today I'm gonna explain my project first JavaScript project. So which is a stopwatch. So here this is my file where I used HTML and CSS and JavaScript to make this stopwatch project. So first I'll show you my HTML code. What are the components I used in this code to make my stopwatch to be very fancy and very clear and very good in looking. So here I used, first of all, I linked with my CSS file in the head of the HTML, and I put a title as stopwatch, and I give a port IDs, view port name. So port IDs will be there inside this. It is a default feature in this HTML. After that, inside the body where I use the div, which is a whole container, which I use the class name as container inside this whole div, which contains all the details of a heading, span tag, so whatever it is, right? So it is some kind of a package, so which contains everything inside the div with div. So here I provided the header, which is coding ninja, and below the line I used br for break line, so to be the stopwatch to put under the coding ninjas. And again I used one more div inside the div. I used one more div to separate, to make it separate for the time, and separate the buttons to make it style it in future very easily, right? So for that I used the div. So here I div is used with the ID of time and use the span tag. So why I use this span tag here is to specifically some kind of to specific element I can design. I'll make changes using this class ID, so that I use the span tag to make a specific change to the particular element. So here I used digit and then ID hour, and they use 00, which initially all hours and minutes will be in 0, right? So that I put 00. And same like for the how minutes, seconds, and count. So count is going something count very fastly, and if it is reaches to 100 it will make to 1 second, and if seconds reaches to 60 then it will increase the minute. If a minute reaches to 60 it will increase the hour. So for that purpose I use this. And for the buttons, so I use the three buttons here: start, stop, and reset. So with the ID of start, stop, and reset, and I link my JavaScript file here with the script tag. So this is overall of HTML code. So then I'll go for the CSS. In CSS, right? So I made uh, I just styling my body. So padding will be 0 and margin will be 0, and font will be Verandna. So the time is right. I'll show first. I'll run my project. So this is my project, right? So where I used body for the here I used, right? So for the body, right, here the body. So for the whole body I use this padding and margin is 0 and font is this one. And for the particular ID where use the time, right? So it will show hour, minute, for this particular div ID. So I used height with 200 pixel and 90 pixel, and border radius is 10, and it will be a flex will be the separate component. We can make it each and every segment will be a component, right? So for that I use the flex, and direction will be in row. So here, right, it will be in row. All this are in row. So justify center, it will be in center. The content will be in the center of the page, and alignment items also in the center of the page. And then container. So next I'll go for the class container. It is the whole container, whole div will be the whole container, right? So whole page, about the whole page where I used um, container for it is also in the flex. Display model is in flex on display direction in the column, and it will be in the column. it is based on the column, not in the row, for the whole screen. And I used with 100 percentage height HV 100, and color is black, right? See, you can see the background color is black, and H1 tag. So I used orange. Usually the coding ninja will be using orange, so I prefer to do this in orange for the heading, and it will be aligned in center. And digit font size will be 150 pixel. I fixed, and background color is black. See, background is black, and I background color for the numbers, right? The background color will be in black. Sorry, color will be in black. The digit will be in black, and the background color will be, I used linear gradient, so where we can use the multiple colors, right? So to get it fancy, so for that purpose I use this linear gradient. I use the 4 colors, and that is what actually 3 colors I used, and which is in the format of top to bottom, right? So it is in 350-degree, it plays. And text will be in the font size of 3 pixel, 30 pixel, and the color will be in white. And buttons, margin top is 50 px, buttons, right? Margin top is 50 px. And button, this is this one. So start, stop, reset button. So for that I used with this 100 pixel padding, margin, and the radius, right? You can see, able to see the radius around the button. And what color we need to mention, color is white, and font size and transition will be 1.5 seconds, and font weight is 500. So start, for start I used green, stop blue, and reset will be red. So this is these are the colors I used. And this white color is where we mentioned here, right, in button, dot button, inside the dot button class. So that is why it's showing white color. In the name is in white color. So next we'll move for the JavaScript file. So here, right, I used document dot dom. So document dot get element ID. So using the ID, I assign this value to start button, the variable start button, stop button, reset button. So and I initiate some hours, minutes variable. So hour, minute, second with the 0. So for I want to initiate this variable with the 0. So I use that. And start button variable, I just add a event listener. So add event listener when we click the function. When we click the button, it is the method, right? So click, when we click that, the function will activate. So here using click, and function is timer true, and stopwatch. So when I was clicking this start, the function start to run, right? So how it will done is, so uh, once we start this, the timer will become true. So that means the timer will become true, and it will call the stopwatch function. So here the stopwatch function, so if the timer is true, then the count will increase. So if the count is reaches to 100, it will increase 1 second. If a count is equal to 100, it will increase a 1 1 second. So the second will be in 1, changes to 1, and the count becomes 0. Again the count will start from the initial. So when the second reaches to 60, it means the 1 minute, right? So the minute will increase, and the second again it will start from the 0. Again it start from 0 to 60. Again the minute will increase, the same like that will go. So if the minute will reaches 60 now, the hour will increase, and minute and second both will be from the right. So once we reach the 1 hour, then the both seconds and minute will be in 0. So that is why this minute and second is in initiates will start from the 0. Again I use some variable hour sting, minute sting, and which I assign this hour, minute, second count, right? So where the here it is count second, minute, second, minute, everything is there, right? So which is assigned to this variable. So and then one more thing is, if hour is in less than 10, if it is less than 10, so initially it will show only 0 is to 0 0, only one zero, single zero will be there. So but we need a double zero before the 10 seconds. Why? Because after 10 it will become 11, 1 1 and 1 2. So for that purpose we used to add one more zero. So initially it will be below 10 it will zero, it will okay, I'll tell you. See, so seconds, it is in below 10. So below 10 it will show 0 and 2. If we are not giving that function, then it will show 2 alone, so it will not show 0. So for that purpose we add 0 here, 0 plus the string hour. So whatever the count is increased, right, it will be added to this 0. So for that purpose we use this function. Finally, this HTML hour minute dot inner HTML, right? So for this hour class, that inside the HTML, the it will assign this value. Inner HTML will be like uh, accessing the HTML code with the class, right? So this is our class in HTML. Using that inner HTML we are using here and assigning the value to that hour. So for like that we'll assigning minute and second count. So set timeout will be, so for every 10 the stopwatch function will be called again, it will call. So for the every 10, so it will get out, and then the stopwatch will call. So same like that, it will increase, and it will show the count. So I'll show you. So reset here, right? So we'll come for reset stop button. So when we click this function, no, the timer will become false. Once the if statement is false, then it will not execute, right? So it will not execute any of this method, right? So inside the function. And then reset button. So there also, the for the reset button also I use the add event listener click function. So the timer equal to false, so it will also become a false, and it set the all the variables to 0. Why? Because if we reset means we need to start from the initial, right? So for that purpose we use this all hour minute second, right? So it will be starting from the 0, and again the same hour minute using a class, and we are assigning the value, the string 0 0 for the everyone from the starting. So for that purpose we use this. So this is my overall project, and I'll run this project once. See, when I was giving start, it start to count, and it will reach 10, it will 100. So when the count reaches 100 and the second increases, once the second reaches 60, it will increase the minute. Once the minute reaches 60, it will increase the hour, and remaining all will be in 0. So this is the thing, and stop. When I click stop, the timer will become false, and it will not run the stopwatch function. So it will stop the uh, running the count. It will stop the count, so it will pause here. So reset, if I click reset, all the things will be in reset. So this is the project I done. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.